Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a review of something I'm super excited about, the 361 Miro, or in this called the Miro Nude, which I'm very nervous to say on YouTube, but also excited, not because it's the word nude, but because that means there's more colorways, because this is my favorite 5K, 10K racing shoe of 2024 by far. This was a personal purchase. We don't really have contact with 361. I've heard about this shoe, been kind of following it, and all of a sudden it showed up on their website. And I'm like, I'm ordering this, I'm getting it. Waited a week or so, finally got it in, and it is everything I was hoping. There are some mild durability issues, which happens when you have a shoe this light, but to be honest, it's actually lasted a lot longer than shoes that not only cost twice as much of this, but cost more. So let's talk about some of the things first that make this super unique and why I'm excited to finally see this type of shoe be hitting the market. So for my men's size 10, this is coming in at 4.3 ounces or 122 grams. This is insane. This is the lightest available racing shoe, super racing shoe on the market. It is lighter than most of the track spikes out there. It is an outside of the Adidas Adios Evo Pro 1 or Pro Evo 1, which I can never get right. It's much lighter despite being only $220, which is not cheap, but also not 500. So this is an incredible ride. And what's awesome is it does have that really bouncy super shoe feel. So I'm not going to try to pronounce the naming that 361 does. It is a full-length Piba midsole with a full-length carbon fiber plate that you can see, and it definitely has that feeling to it where they're actually, despite how insanely light this thing is, it does have that really nice bounce underfoot where it got really excited that I didn't feel in some other shoes that were in this somewhat similar category. And it's just got this great lockdown. The sole is lasting longer than I would have expected for a shoe like this, and it just feels fun. It's finally back to days where when I was entering the running scene many years ago, we had shoes like the Asics Piranha or the Mizuno Wave Universe, which is my favorite shoe of all time, or the New Balance RC 5000 racing flat that made you want to go super fast and were super light over the 5K, 10K distances. And some people can certainly do that for a marathon. I'm sure there's somebody who's much lighter than the feet that can handle something like this. For me, this is my top 5K, 10K shoe because it's so light and it's got that super shoe balance at the same time. Now, like I said, full length, Pebax midsole, definitely bouncy. It is very unique, and the midfoot is very narrow. Heels now, forefoot is on a little bit on the wider side, which is really interesting, but it clearly has that bounce. Super nice rockered feel to it. So nice posterolateral bevel back here, which I think has helped make it a little bit more durable for me. Transitions really best when you land at the forefoot. So when I took this on the track, it feels like a super track spike. It feels like more so than what I've ever felt. Obviously, it's not going to be track legal because the stack height is much taller, which, by the way, I don't have the stack height measurements. I just had to measure this on my own. I don't have a lot of measurements for this. When I looked on Google, it said something like 41 millimeters in the heel, 35 in the forefoot for a 6 millimeter drop, which somebody comment below. I'm probably totally wrong. It does feel like a 5 to 6 millimeter drop. It doesn't feel like the lowest thing, but it also doesn't feel super high. It just kind of feels like that slightly lower, little bit like 6 millimeter drop, but it's definitely pretty high off the ground, and that's offset obviously by being insanely light. So track stuff and speed is where this feels great. I've used it for a tempo run and it felt wonderful. It was like, oh my gosh, it's like running in the Mizuno Wave Universe again, but more cushion in today's age. When I did track stuff though and hill repeats, that's where this thing really took off. Turning over super quick is so fun in this shoe. The grip is fairly good, obviously, on track and road. Do not take this on cross. It might be a minute before I get a race in this because I'm really focusing on cross country and PDX right now and getting my rear end handed to me, but it's great for building strength. Do not take this on soft surfaces or rocks. It will get destroyed. And I'll talk about durability in a second, but it feels so awesome turning over very quickly and moving faster, which is why it's a great option for 5K, 10K. I personally wouldn't take this for a marathon. It's not quite stable enough for me in the heel, and also I'd probably just want something a little bit more with longer miles. But 5K, 10K, maybe half, probably not half. This would be a really good option for moving really quickly if you still want that super shoe feel. Now, in terms of how this feels, it feels like the forefoot is kind of this nice, really nice cushioned and centered area. There are sidewalls throughout the length of the shoe on the medial side and the lateral side, but especially on the medial side. So it offsets this super narrow heel just a little bit when you're running. When you're standing, you're like, I'm kind of like rolling off here. So if you have midfoot stability issues, this is not going to be the best because this is a Piba foam, so it does compress quite a bit. But in the forefoot, there it's A, on the wider side, and B, there's pretty large sidewells here. So be careful if you're sensitive to those, because that might blister you. But for me, it just kept me really nice. Like, I wanted to land up front, I wanted to turn over quicker, and rolling through the forefoot was really nice. I did initially notice a little bump here at the heel, which kind of made me land a little bit farther forward. That did go away with time, and as it broke in, it felt much nicer to kind of roll heel to forefoot. But those people like to get on their toes. This is a really, really good option. So turning over fast felt great. The tempo run felt really good because once I kind of figured out, okay, here's what this feels like being so light, it was really nice to just get into rhythm with this shoe at a faster pace. So even pushing a stroller, I was in the 540 range pace per mile with pushing Isabella, and it felt great. It's just nice to get back into that super lighter thing, and it made my second tempo run of the day feel weird because I used a different super shoe, and I was like, why is this way lighter shoe now feeling heavier? Oh yeah, because I ran in this morning. So it has a great way of ruining other shoes for you. It is that light. Like, this is so light that it feels so good, and there's so much bounce to the midsole, and you still got that stiffness without being super aggressive, that I'm saving this at this point, because as soon as any road 5K comes up, this is it. I'm not choosing anything else over it, because it's that quick and that bouncy and that light that it just kind of ruined a lot of other stuff for me. I do have to comment on durability. It's $220, which, like I said, is not terrible for some of the shoes in this range, because again, when you get into this weight range, like the Evo Pro 1 is $500. This is a lot better deal. I am starting to dig through the exposed Pima midsole here. I am starting to pull up this a little bit, which is not bad at 20 miles. I have a lot of other shoes that I've ripped this off completely at like 10, 15. So durability isn't terrible. It's also not great because you got so much exposed Pima. And I will say, 361, if you do listen to this, which you probably, I don't know why you would listen to this, but if you are, I'd really encourage you. This is light enough that you could make a full outsole here, and I think that would be really great for durability and still have this amazing. It's my one piece of feedback on this awesome shoe. But yeah, so there is durability stuff. If you're light on your feet, that's gonna be fine. If you are not light on your feet like me, this is not gonna have a lot of longevity, which is why at this point, after 20 miles, I'm saving this for a 5K road race to be able to really feel what this feels like, really turning your feet over. The fit is also interesting, where the forefoot is definitely a little bit more anatomic. We're kind of straight on the medial side and nice and rounded here. It is snug, and I will say that it holds your foot really, 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 really close. There's still some volume here, which is really, really nice. I forget the name. I'm saying really nice 1,000 times, so you can make fun of me in the comments below. The upper is so light. I'm really careful putting this shoe on because I'm afraid I'm going to rip this. But it did not take me very much to lock this down. There's also a little bit of structure back here, which not enough to bother me for people with heel sensitivities, but there is a little bit, I don't know if it's more plastic. It doesn't feel like a counter, but there is something back here that gives some more structure and holds the heel really nicely, and some nice padding that locks you in very, very good there. But it's slightly snug, but still like not like a toe cruncher, just like your first toe sits really nicely there, but it's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room on this shoe in general, but it feels like a track spike with really good, like really bouncy cushioning and a lot more foam underfoot. So yeah, I just wanted to get my thoughts out. Again, personal purchase, really excited. This is my favorite shoe, super shoe that's a shorter distance stuff of the year. And I will get a 5K race in before the end of the year and tell you a little bit more about how that foot underfoot, but this is awesome. I don't know why this isn't being advertised a ton more, and I wouldn't have known if I hadn't just randomly checked 361's website, but I probably want another pair, to be totally honest with you. So I'm also really excited that companies, at least even 361 and others, are starting to do that next step, which is, yeah, we got these great foams, but how do we make this super light? Let's get back to where we had those like 4-ounce shoes and do some crazy stuff, hopefully without sacrificing durability. But that's not my area of expertise. I'll leave that to the footwear developers to figure that out. But yeah, that's the 361 Miro in the nude colorway. If you have any thoughts below, please leave them. If you've tried this shoe, please let me know what you think. If you have any comparisons, I'm always really, really curious. I don't have my Evo Pro 1 anymore. David has my pair, which he's already taken on trails. So I might ask him, we might try to send it and do a little comparison here. But in the meantime, let me know if you've tried both this or any of the other super light stuff that's coming out, and let me know what your thoughts are below. And as always, hope this stuff helps you make good decisions about what you're putting on your feet.